cold and gray, but the fire in our hearts won't stray from the pitch where dreams collide. We'll stand together side by side. Oh, when the Spurs go marching in, when the Spurs go marching in, I wanna be there in that number. Oh, when the Spurs go marching in, from the north to Wembley's light, under stars we own the night, with every cheer and every song. We've been here all along. No one can take this from our soul. We're a part of something whole. Oh, when the Spurs go marching in, when the Spurs go marching in, I wanna be there in that number. Oh, when the Spurs go marching in, we've seen the glory, we felt the pain, through the sunshine, through the rain. Every step is ours to claim. We'll rise again. We'll play the game. Oh, when the Spurs go marching in, when the Spurs go marching in, I wanna be there in that number. Oh, when the Spurs go marching in.
Good evening. It is a Sunday night. It is after the North London derby, and I know I texted the guys earlier and I said we're going to hopefully be celebrating a win tonight, but instead it is another therapy session, and it would not be therapy without some good friends talking and also someone making their debut on the channel as well. Unfortunately, not in good circumstances, but obviously, let me introduce my panel. Martin, pleasure to have you on Project Spurs and making your debut with us, mate. Wish it was under better circumstances, but how is it from Slovakia at the moment?
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Pleasure to be on. I've already been on the channel with Philip and Joe. So, Callum, nice to meet you.
I am sorry about that, mate.
No, I haven't been on this channel. I've been on a different one with them. So the only new face for me is yourself. Unfortunately, these circumstances come with being a Spurs fan. So it's not a surprise, is it, that we're going to have a therapy session instead of a decent chat about Tottenham. Thank you for having me on.
No, brilliant. Thank you for coming on, mate. And as always, a regular and good friend of the channel, Phil from Frankfurt. What's the feeling tonight, mate, for you?
Where do I start? As Martin said, you know, we're getting used to it, right? We've got used to it over the years. It's intensified again. It's all part of being a Spurs fan in some shape or form. It's a pleasure to be on despite all of that, and I'm sure we're going to have a good debate tonight and break down some elements for that and probably try and map out the rest of the season. But got a lot of emotions right now, to be honest. On the one hand, I'm seriously angry, like furious, fuming at various things, you know, like just the whole situation that we find ourselves in, the club, the ownership, the decisions, the players as well, like to a certain extent, albeit I know we're in a bit of a tricky situation with injuries as well on top of that. And but you know, at the end of the day, look, I mean, we'll talk about it, but I expected that I expected to lose today. I mean, I didn't kind of think we would win. You know, I did expect to lose, so you know, I didn't kind of build myself up too much. But again, it's just the manner in the end, and that lot winning twice 4-1 in consecutive North London derbies. Yeah, it's a sorry state of affairs from everyone involved at Spurs, to be honest.
No, of course. And the happiest man on the planet, a good friend of mine, Joseph. Obviously, you are a happy man. You are always upbeat and everything like that. So how are you, mate?
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm fed up, to be fair, just of Tottenham in general. You know, I think the same as Phil coming into this game. I wasn't expecting us to get a result. I wasn't expecting us to win, but it doesn't make it feel any less shit after the results come in, and you know, you can see how we played. It was just really disappointing. And yeah, you know, we'll get into it all, but I'm worried. I'm really concerned. You know, I'm again, we'll talk all about it, but you know, it just shows that you know, we can't always end up blaming the manager and expect things to change when somebody else comes in. This is a team and a club in a really shit spot, and I don't know. I'm really concerned, but yeah, you know, I would say looking forward to breaking it down. I'm not, but you know, at least I'm breaking it down with you know, 3 like-minded Spurs fans, 3 great guys. So yeah, you know, gotta look at the silver linings, eh?
No, of course, mate. So let's go for it. Start off with, so obviously first week of training with Igor Tudor, we had a few people who was expecting to return didn't. A few people had a sore throat this week. Turns out you can't get a fucking cold in the UK. Oh, wait, no, you can, but you still can't kick a football with a sore throat. So with the team news to start off with, we had Richarlison returning. Pedro Porro did not pass his medical training this week, and Dom Solanke obviously also struggled to start the game. So we started the game out with Guillermo Vicario in goal, João Palhinha, Radu Dragusin and Mickey van der Ven in a back 3, with Archie Gray, Conor Gallagher, Balloon Boy in Yves Bissouma, Pape Matar and Jed Spence in a midfield 5, and then with Xavi Simons and Rando Kolo Muani playing up top in a 3-5-2 formation. So, Phil, I'm going to come to you. Obviously, not a great week for recovering injuries, pretty much what we expected from the 13 or so players who were coming in. We did obviously lose Antonin Kinski to injury as well this week, we are led to believe. So realistically, what do you think of that sort of lineup, and then the youngsters who made the bench as well this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, the lineup, I actually saw exactly that same lineup posted on Twitter yesterday, and saying that that's going to be the lineup today. So I don't know if people were just obviously guessing based on our injuries and the fact that, to be fair, some of those players probably are the only options we've got in some of the, you know, positions. But yeah, I was hopeful that Solanke would be fit to start. Although I was happy actually that he was at least on the bench, because I'd heard before that he was probably going to miss out completely. I guess we knew he was going to play a back 3, right? And to be honest, that back 3 picks itself, I would say, at the moment. The only other player you could put in there would be Archie Gray, really. You know, Palhinha was always going to start in there. It was going to be Dragusin and it was going to be Mickey. So no surprise there. I was hoping that Spence wouldn't play, or rather Spence would play on the right, and, you know, Tudor would have the balls probably to play Sousa on the left. If only because, and I've been going on about it all season and probably last season as well, but I absolutely hate Jed Spence on the left. I think he doesn't give any balance to our team whatsoever. We have zero balance. He's the most one-footed player I've seen kind of in that position as well. I would have liked to have maybe seen a bit of risk taken, but I can understand why he wouldn't throw Sousa in, right? Kind of into such a big game, you know, new manager, a few days, etc., etc. He's only just arrived, right? Only played a few minutes, so not many options there really. And in midfield, Sarr, Gallagher, Xavi, and am I missing someone? Balloon boy, laughing gas boy, whatever you want to call him. I mean, it just proves as well, though, that we're just, you know, he was basically banished from our team, banished from the team, and he's having to start games, and it just proves again the inept levels of our people in charge and the management and everything, that we just didn't get those extra couple of players in January. You know, it's just an absolute awful shit show. And yeah, look up front. I mean, Moani. Yeah, I mean, look, we don't have any other options. Tell, I guess, would have been the other one that could have maybe started, but he just doesn't start this season at the moment at all. You know, I would have liked to seen him get a few more minutes, but I don't know. Like, the reality is, we don't have many choices. Like, the manager does have his hands tied up to a certain extent. You know, with the injuries we've got, and the way that probably he wants to play as well, we just don't have options. And my last point, before I ramble on too long already, is the young players. Yeah, look, I thought it was good. Obviously, to see James Wilson on the bench as well was a nice touch. Scored his first goal, didn't he, yesterday, like in the first minute? And it would have been good for him just to spend some time around the team. Although whether it's good to spend time in that dressing room right now, I don't know. Yeah, that's for the other players on there. Look, it's good that they get time on the bench, but I would have still have liked to have seen, maybe I'm romantic around it, but I would have said, look, just throw Luca Williams-Barnett on for a few minutes, at least give him some game time. We didn't even, we touched the ball twice, I think, in their penalty box in the second half, and we probably had 2 attacks. But look, Tudor has got a very hard job ahead of him. His hands are tied up to a certain extent, and he's going to have to decide, though, whether he gets any added value out of maybe playing some of the youth, right, in some of the upcoming games, just because they're fresh, because they, you know, haven't gone through this kind of 2.5-year cycle of first losing 22 games under Ange and then continuing like our poor form this season. Do you know what I mean? Like, there could be maybe an upshot to playing some of those youngsters in there, at least even if they come off the bench, because they bring that youthful, you know, energy, and I guess in some respects innocence, right? Because they haven't been through those bad times. And you know, some will say, well, are they experienced enough for relegation battle? Does it matter if they've got the confidence still? Like, because at the moment, all of our players have got zero confidence, and that's the problem now for Tudor.
No, of course. Right, I'm just going to bring in our last guest. Trav, if you're driving, I'm going to boot you, mate. Are you a passenger or are you driving?
No, I'm passenger, mate. Just picked up my McDonald's just to cheer me up a little bit because I've got the fucking
Good choice.
Right, well, we will keep the language to a minimum tonight. But Martin, I'm going to come to you.
No, we won't, Cal. I'm not, be honest, I'm going to struggle to keep my language to the minimum.
Right, well, we are a professional podcast, gentlemen, so we will compose ourselves as gentlemen tonight. But so, Martin, just to come to you straight away, mate. So, we obviously, Phil's covered the lineup, so I want to jump straight to the 32nd minute, because lining up in that first half, we weren't great, was we? There wasn't much going on for us in there. We kind of pressed high. We did keep them out, but it was a man who was linked to Spurs for God knows how many years, eventually was signed by Arsenal, his boyhood club, and he did pop up with quite a crap goal. Let's put it that way. So what did you make of Eberechi Eze's first goal, Martin, for Arsenal?
It's actually embarrassing how bad defensively that was. And it's an embarrassment overall that Eberechi Eze this season has been appalling for Arsenal. He hasn't got any minutes, and he just comes up against us second time this season, and he plays like it's his playground. It was horrific defending, and it was coming. You could feel that goal was coming. Like you mentioned, by that 32nd minute, we were trying to press. However, our back line was so far back compared to the front four that we're trying to press. And it's so frustrating to look at Eberechi Eze's, like the way he's celebrating as well. And after that, you don't see a single Spurs fan getting near him, trying to clatter him, trying to, get that respect back. My head is on Mars. It really is, because it's just incredible how Eberechi Eze, the only goal assist that he's had in recent games has been against Wigan, and he comes to our stadium and is by far the best player. It's horrific defending in the box. How much time he had to even get a shot in there. There's nothing more to say to that goal. And the only positive is that we've reacted fast with a goal. And that is the only positive from the whole game.
No, of course. And Joseph, obviously, like Martin said, there was no one really sort of making any difference, any attempt to make a challenge in there. Saka obviously gets free down the left-hand side once again round Jed Spence, cuts in, puts the ball across, and obviously Eze taps it through a group of people or group of our players and puts it into the net. What did you make of this one? Because it's once again a defensive frailty from Spurs.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Saka was their danger man that first half, especially. It felt like they kept on wanting to try and get it wide to him and get him on a one-on-one. And to be fair, I thought Spence did all right with him, kind of always stood him up, always kind of kept him, stayed with him. But in that one moment, obviously it was Sarr with Saka instead. Spence had obviously tried to move up the pitch slightly. So, and then it kind of gets trapped in between Sarr's feet. And at that point you're going to get punished. And yeah, I mean, there was it felt like there was about 5 players around Eze, but no one on top of him, which is really what you need to be when he's in the 6-yard box about to go for a volley. So they went 1-0 up deservedly. So I don't think anyone can complain. They were completely on top in the game. Yeah, okay, we were defending decently well, I guess. We were trying to hold them off, but again, they had a couple of other opportunities where they could have scored. Gyökeres kind of standing up, Dragic and cutting inside, and his shot just going past the post. But they were just all over us. And like Martin said, it was good that we got the goal straight away afterwards, but realistically it wasn't deserved. It was just us kind of soaking up pressure, trying, not being able to stop them. And I think the one thing that's like so frustrating, I mean, there's so much that's frustrating in the game, but Arsenal just make football look easy. They genuinely do. Like the way they pass, the way they move, everything just looks so fluid and so simple. And when you watch us try and build out from the back, when you see us trying to play forward, they make it look like it's the hardest thing ever to do. And I don't know if it's, somewhat of obviously confidence. I think part of it's probably ability. I don't think the team is good enough. I think a lot of players aren't good enough. It's really tough to watch. And again, we'll go on to a whole kind of wider conversation after we get through the game. But just like, this is a really, really worrying how dominated we were. I understand that, like, because I remember the first game at the Emirates, and so we had Frank at the time, and at that point I was like, Frank out. That was the game where I was kind of like, I don't want Frank anymore, because of how badly we were dominated by Arsenal. We were basically dominated in the same way in this game. We were. And I can't blame Igor Tudor. I can't blame him for it. So at that moment, I blamed Frank, but maybe, this is more on the actual ability of our team, the players, and also the want and the work rate of our players as well. Because they worked hard in the first half. The second half, they were pitiful. And it was just really, really tough to watch us get dominated by Arsenal like that. Our fiercest rivals. And let's be honest, they're just miles better than us right now. They are. Absolutely. And that first goal was just deserved. Of course, it had to be Eze, because who else? That just to kind of rub salt in the wound. But yeah, it's again, it was nice to see us get a goal straight away, but I still didn't have much confidence.
No, that's definitely fair. And Phil, I'll come to you. You are someone who has advocated for Rando Kolo Muani for most of the season, from watching him with Frankfurt, obviously not so much with PSG or with Juventus, but obviously he has been a shadow of his former self, but he has been played by Igor Tudor because he did have him at Juventus last year when he was last there. This is quite a well-taken goal, isn't it? Because obviously he does go around, he beats, I believe, it was either Gabriel or Rice. He knocks it round them, beats them in the challenge, goes through the left-hand channel and then cuts onto his right foot to put it past David Raya. So this is what we've been wanting from Kolo Muani all season, isn't it?
Look, I mean, there's never been any doubt about his ability. He's proven it over the last couple of seasons, right? Since he burst through at Frankfurt. And again, he was probably 1 centimeter away from winning the World Cup from France, like in the final. So he's good enough, right, to start for France. Probably at the moment, obviously not because of his form, but he's a great player. He's good enough to play in the Premier League as well. But, obviously he coming into probably again a new team, he wasn't fit when he joined the club. He was way off fitness, way off. I think it took him 2 or 3 months to even get anywhere near being match fit. And then, after he had that game against PSG, funnily enough. So, yeah, he does seem to raise his game or be able to raise his game, right, mentally in certain games when he's up for it. So, I thought that he would kick on after that game, and he didn't. In his defense, I probably would say that he's been playing in a team which, frankly, has been completely ineffective.
Don't mention Frank. Don't mention anything Frank. Let's put it that way. We've had enough of that. We're on something new now.
We need to forget him as quickly as possible. But the fact is he has been playing in a team which has been ineffective, and he's had to play on the left, up front. There's not been that those progressive passes coming in from midfield. He hasn't really had a partner up front. It looked a bit better when our ex-manager started playing that 3-4-2-1, right, with the 2 number 10s, because then he had Xavi, Simons, and who else? Yeah, Odobert, exactly. And look, we miss Odobert as well already, right? But he had those 2 guys playing near him, and he looked better. But he looked like he doesn't want to be here, and he knows he's going back to Paris in the summer and then probably somewhere else, But there's been a player in there, but, probably our ex-manager is at fault for not being able to get the best out of him in the months that he had here, right? At the end of the day. And I'm slightly biased, as you know, because I did watch him, for my German team here for Frankfurt for a whole season. And, he was so good. So I will kind of probably protect him a bit. But I do think that he's probably found himself in a very difficult situation, But he proved again today that, with tenacity and fight, if he's up for it probably, fully, then he can do it. And look, the goal was great. Like, he basically pickpocketed Declan Rice. What Rice was doing there was ridiculous anyway. So, I think he kind of held his hands up after that. But that was a mistake by Rice. But Kolo won the opportunity just by being on him, by pressing him and dispossessing him. He was in the right place at the right time, and the finish was solid, right? Power, gave Ryan no chance with it, right? Despite being quite central. So, and look, we'll talk about it after because it's a big point of discussion, but, he could easily have had a second goal. I think he should have had a second goal. I'll preempt it slightly, but that's a whole other discussion by itself. But I thought he did well today. And, I think it's a bit of a shame that in the end he'll probably go down, assuming he obviously doesn't stay at Spurs, that he'll end up leaving the club, and it will kind of be a case of, what if a bit and, what could have been, because he is a good player, but just hasn't worked out.
Exactly right. I will bring Travis in just quickly, and I just want to get his views on this one. Trav, if you go again, just stay on the pod, please, mate. But I will give you a lovely image from one of our own, Gary Ward. This is at least something that was brighter for us. Trav, obviously, I know you're like me, big affinity and love for Dele Alli from his time at the club. This is lovely to see, isn't it, with him being back?
Yeah, amazing. I was a massive fan of Ali when he was at the club, both on the pitch and off the pitch, obviously with his mental health struggles and stuff, and really opening up about them. So, he's a top prospect. It's just a shame you know, he couldn't stay playing football. But yeah, great to see. Great picture from Gary Ward as always. I think he had one with Ginola as well, which is always nice to see. You know, the older proper players that actually won games and got us 3 points. But yeah, great to see Ali back at the lane. You know, you could have put him on, give him 20 minutes. You know, I probably wouldn't have changed anything. But you could have given him the 20 minutes. But words just fail me. I don't even know what to say. So I mean, I sat there watching it with my dad, who's been watching it for over 60 years. You know, and he just knows what's coming, you know, and I think a lot of us do now as well. For me, I don't think there was much change from what the last result was in the last North London derby. You know, both were 4-1. Both we got absolutely ridiculed, and men versus boys pretty much. Yeah.
Well, while you're on that, Trav, I'll just give you a couple of comments from Igor Tudor, which links in well. So Tudor's been doing his post-match interview, and it's in with the ball. Lack of confidence is evident with the team. I'm very sad, very angry, everything. But in some ways, it's also good to understand what is our goal. Ultimately, he's picked up a team that are devoid of anything, hasn't he? And it's like you said, we had no confidence in the last North London derby. This one's completely the same now. Yeah,
none at all. Absolutely no spine, backbone at all. And I honestly thought, and I know we say about injuries and how many players we've got out at the moment. Obviously, Madison back in training now, but by the looks of it, but you can't keep blaming it on injuries. I just don't know what it is at the moment, but we are just absolutely. We are in trouble, and I'm fed up with saying it. I don't know. I just don't know what to say, Cal. I really don't. There's so much I could say, but I've said it all before. But we are just a club in an awful lot of trouble, both on the pitch and off the pitch, by what I've been reading about sponsorships and stuff like that. I think everyone's, you know, leaving us by the sounds of it. So I don't know. And I know we all say that ENIC needs to set up and move on, but I can't see it happening. And I think I read something earlier as well about the ticket prices not going up next year. They're probably not going up next year because we could be relegated. So the ticket prices are probably going to drop dramatically. But I honestly thought, a tiny piece of me say, I honestly thought that we was going to go out there and give it a really good show. In the first, as a few of the boys said earlier, the first half hour, 45 minutes, you know, it was good, but the second half, we just fell apart. And as you said in the group chat, Cal, it was like a training match. It's really difficult at this moment in time as a Spurs fan. Really quite emotionally draining, really.
No, of course, mate. Obviously, there are nearly 500 of you viewing, so thank you very much. If you can go and give us a like and subscribe on YouTube, that would really help the channel. Obviously, go and support all the guys as well on there. Let's just do a couple of comments from the chat. Gary, love you all. Gutted with the second golf. I'm guessing that's half, Gary, so thank you for that one, mate. Trav, I'm guessing this one's from you. Fuck's sake on that one. Obviously, Gary has commented again. Billy, is this the worst Tottenham team of all time? Surely this continued knock on managers has to stop. Simply put, it's not been good enough for a long time, and Poch cannot save you. Yeah, it's a difficult one, Billy, let's put it that way. Obviously, missed the games. Thank you very much as well, mate. So it was obviously a difficult first half. We had a lot of issues with technology and technical difficulties with the ref in there as well. That took us up to 8 added minutes. So whatever momentum Spurs did have started wanting by the end of the second half. But I kind of went in at half-time feeling a little bit okay, a little bit more balanced, but realistically it didn't help us. So we got to half time, it was 1-1. Then Martin, if I can just bring you in, someone who has been probably one of the poorest players of the transfer window that was brought in is Victor Gyökeres. He cannot score anything apart from penalties, but somehow we allowed him to score. What was your thoughts on this one, mate? Because I have referred to him before as either a bag of dog shit or a pile of cement in the way that he moves. But realistically, we made him look good. didn't we?
We did, because we are Dr. Tottenham. That is, like, we are not called that for no reason. I thought we started the half brightly. That's what I had the impression of, because Xavi Simons managed to get a shot in within the first minute, so that looked positive. Then straight away, on the other hand, on the other end of the pitch, they get the ball on out wide, and it's just the ball into the middle, not into the middle of the box, on the edge of our box, and somehow Dragusin is just focused on Eberechi Eze, gets completely distracted. Palhinha is not focused in trying to keep with Gyökeres. Gyökeres gets the touch completely free, and has a free shot outside the edge of the box. So, you look at that, and there are a few issues there. So Palhinha is not a right centre-back. He's been played there, and you can tell that he's not a right centre-back, because any other right centre-back would be straight on Gyökeres. Dragusin has completely fallen asleep, and I think that from that moment on, his performance in the second half went downhill completely, and we completely crumbled, because Joseph did mention that Arsenal look, they make football look really good, but they haven't recently. They really haven't. They've been under pressure. They're feeling the pressure of the title charge, but we made them look really good, because you could see that from that goal, the heads just dropped. The heads just dropped completely, and we can't look at that and go and say anything about the manager, because as Travis and Joseph have already mentioned, it was a complete mirrorage of the first North London derby this season. It was literally copy paste, and you can't look at the manager. You have to look at the players, and they are so fragile. West Ham and Nottingham Forest can be watching that game and gaining confidence from it, because this group of players, Igor Tudor is going to have such a difficult job on his hands, because they're not fighters. They're not fighters at all. There are maybe 2-3 fighters in that team. And when that second goal went in, Arsenal have actually lost points from going ahead this season. I think they've dropped 7 in this calendar year. So that's a lot of points to be dropping. So the game was not lost. But in our players' heads, it was. And the crowd were behind them, so they can't come out this season and after this game or after the recent fixtures and claim that the fans aren't behind them. They were. And it's them, again, with their fragile confidence. And they're professional footballers. We can't look at it and go, injuries, this and that. Yes, the board needs to take blame for the lack of activity in the summer, and overall the transfer windows that we've had and the position the team are in. That's also inexcusable. But the players that are fit and are playing for the badge, they're not playing for the badge. They're not even playing for themselves. It's absolutely disgusting. And you had a comment from one of the fans asking if that's one of the worst Tottenham teams we've seen. It's definitely the worst Tottenham team I've seen in my time.
No, that's definitely fair. Right, Joseph, I'm going to come to you, obviously, off the back of what Martin said. But realistically, Spurs did have the ball in the net not far after the second goal for Arsenal. And there was a comment by another podcaster who is a Man United fan, Alice Talks Footy. It was the amount of goals Arsenal scored from a corner when they blatantly pushed the opposition keepers. When Gabriel falls over after barely even being touched by Kolo Muani, it's a foul. Make it make sense. What makes sense in this one for you, mate?
Yeah, I mean, when I first saw it, like live, I did think it was going to be a foul. It looked quite obvious in terms of his hands were on his back. Gabriel went down. I'd obviously, when you see the replay, it does kind of change things. But yeah, immediately I was like, yeah, it's a foul. But yeah, watching it back, I mean, Kolo Muani has literally just put his hands there. He's not even really put any kind of pressure on him. And Gabriel's gone down like he's been shot. The referee bought it, and I don't think VAR has the balls to ever overturn, decisions when they're borderline, because you can understand where the referee's gone and given that as a foul, where he sees the hands on the back, he sees Gabriel go down. That usually is given as a foul. But again, if you see it in the replays, there's no pressure on him. There's no real kind of push from Kolo Muani. And Gabriel was missing the ball. He was always missing the ball, which is why he went down so theatrically. So realistically, it's the job of VAR to go and, to correct the decision and to go, you know what, there's nothing there. There's nothing in that. That should be a fine goal. Gabriel's jumped on the floor like an idiot. Colin barely done anything to him. He's barely touched him, and it should be a goal. But, you know, as much as I can appreciate, yeah, there was decisions in the game I didn't agree with. There was one in the first half where Gabriel just blatantly jumped in front of Colin when the ball was kind of got over the top. And he wasn't even looking at the ball, and it wasn't obviously given as a foul. Now, I'm not saying it should be a red. He was the last man. I don't think it should have been a red, but it's just, again, it's one of those decisions where if that's a foul, it's a clear yellow card. And at that point, you know, he's then walking a bit of a tightrope for the rest of the game. So, you know, it's just, there's decisions that are always going to go against you in football. I think everyone realizes that now. In every game you play, there will be decisions that don't go the way that you expect. But for me, it's about performance, and it's about, the fact is, even with the goal, maybe it would have changed the game and it would have gone to 2-2. But I can't get away from the fact that I thought we were pathetic. I thought it was a really poor performance. And again, I understand that Arsenal are better than us. They are. Like if we're all being honest, like Arsenal are just a better football team right now than we are. And, you know, they have been for a couple of years, and they probably will be for another couple of years. We've got to hope that we can kind of change things up and things will turn for us and we'll get better and we'll start competing with them. But right now, Arsenal are way better than us. But there's game that when we were better than Arsenal, we never had games like that against them where we completely and utterly battered them. You know, it was always the case of Arsenal would fight, Arsenal would be in the game, Arsenal would sometimes beat us. And even the games where we did end up beating them quite comfortably, it's because there was a red card involved or because, you know, mitigating circumstances. Fact is, we've just played Arsenal twice this season and been we were made to look like a League Two team against a Premier League team in the FA Cup. Like that's how it felt watching that. And it's demoralising. You know, these are your biggest rivals. This is the team that we've all grown up hating, and they are that much better than us. And I can understand, you know, injuries are an issue. Yeah, okay. But even fully fit, I don't think we're going to beat Arsenal. We're nowhere near as good as them. It's just, I don't know, man. I'm just so fed up with where we're at. And again, there's so many things we can talk about. You know, obviously Frank's now gone, and I think Frank was a big reason why we're in this position. But he wasn't the only reason. The fact is, the ownership haven't spent money on the squad where they needed to. The recruitment isn't good enough. The players that we're buying obviously clearly aren't good enough. Because look at the position we're in. You know, I don't think our recruitment's been anywhere near good enough. The people in charge of the club at the top aren't good enough. They should not be employed. And it makes you wonder, well, who are the people employing these people? Because they clearly aren't good enough to be running a football club. Vinay, Johan Langer, they're not good enough to be in the positions they are, yet here they are. And we're the ones who have employed them. And you see Brighton and Brentford have the people at the top have got them into a consistent position, have got them building and you know, making money. Who's making the decisions to get these people in? You know, why have we not got these type of, you know, the owners that we can trust and believe in terms of the people at least being employed by the ownership? And then, yeah, overall, I mean, everyone wants the ownership out. Everyone wants them gone because they're a cancer in this club and we need them out. If we want to challenge the way that we should be, you know, the fact is Tottenham are a massive football club and we have every potential to be one of the best teams in England in terms of challenging on all four fronts, challenging in the Premier League, challenging in the Champions League. But yet the ownership are the ones holding us back. We've got this stadium, we've got, you know, unbelievable commercial, you know, potential. We've got so much available to us, yet we're never going to get there under this ownership. So yeah, it's really concerning. But the main thing I'm concerned about is just the rest of this season. Now we've got 11 games left. I was expecting us to lose this. It doesn't make it any less shit. It still feels crap to lose to Arsenal, but we've just got to move on from it. But it's about how are we going to play in the next game against Fulham? That's going to really be a massive, you know, kind of hint as to what's going to happen with Spurs for the rest of the season. Because if we go to Fulham and get battered, we're going to get relegated. Because I can understand somewhat us losing to this Arsenal team. They're most likely going to go on and win the league. But if we go and lose to Fulham, who have basically got nothing to play for, whilst we have everything to play for, we're going to get to a point where relegation is going to be likely. And that's what I'm really concerned about, because I'm not expecting Igor Tudor to come in and make, you know, magnificent waves and start getting this team really far up the up the table. But right now in this position we're in, It's what, 4 points? Is it even 3 points now to West Ham? They're looking a lot more consistent. You've got Forest who look more consistent. I know they lost today, but they didn't deserve to lose. You've got Palace picking up points. Brighton's won yesterday. All the teams around us are somewhat picking up. Leeds should have beaten Villa, and they ended up getting a point. So it's like all these teams are putting in performances that relegation-threatened teams go and do. And yet what I saw today from Tottenham was absolutely pathetic. And that's what concerns me. I didn't expect us to win this, but I expected us to put in a performance where we could, hold our heads high at the end of the game. And I don't feel that at all. And that's my issue. So really, really concerned. I'm really concerned about what's going to happen next, because the way that we're playing, I don't see us winning games. I don't have confidence in us winning. And that's really worrying.
No, that's definitely fair. Obviously, Spurs TV, Dr. Tottenham is always lurking. Sadly, Arsenal's easiest second half of the season. I don't think we can get away from the fact of that. They did dominate and rule the roost on that one. Sai obviously travelled down from the Midlands, one of our own. I'm guessing that you're probably having the longest drive home, brother. I would say I envy you getting down to the game today. I actually feel sorry for you going down to the game today. And luckily, all 5 of us here got to sit at home and watch it, or as like Travis doing, stuffing his face in a McDonald's car park. So as we know, that's his happy place. And Pure Coys, big up all, worrying today for definite. Right, so let's get back into it. So Trav, I am going to come to you if you finished eating, mate.
I have, yeah.
So
I'm comfort eating.
we all say that, mate. It is just you stuffing your face, so you're not getting away from this one, I'm afraid. But we did see after the goal, Dom Solanke come on for Conor Gallagher. Solanke recovered from a throat. I don't know what's wrong with his throat, to be honest. It could have been tonsillitis. It could have just been a cold that he had this week. But realistically, we didn't have much going on from that point, did we? Because obviously before that, Eze steps up and scores again. What was your thoughts on this goal, please, mate?
For me, I wasn't even bothered bringing Solanke on. I really didn't see the point in it. Carlo Morani was putting in a pretty good shift. I thought he was the best player on the team today. And as for Eze's second goal, it was just too easy. Too easy. But as you say, Cal, we didn't have a lot to go by. You only had to look at the bench. There's 5 teenagers sitting on the bench. That's how much trouble we're in at the moment, substitution-wise. I would have bought that Williams Barnett on, to be fair. Gave him 10, 15 minutes, if not more. Couldn't have done any worse than what the rest of them did. But yeah, I wouldn't have risked Solanke. I think we need him for the Fulham match. I wouldn't have taken Gallagher off either. I thought Gallagher was okay.
I'd love to say though, if I could chime in, the actual goal itself, I think that epitomises Tottenham this season. Like, there was a bit of a press from Arsenal, and we couldn't play out of it. As soon as the Spurs players gets under pressure, as soon as there's a contested header or a contested pass, they lose the ball, and then Arsenal they just break comfortably because Dragusin heads it straight into. I don't know if it was Basuma who tried.
Dragusin was horrendous.
He headed it straight into no man's land.
Yeah,
and
then Eze gets the ball, then. And Dragusin was absolutely dominated by Gyökeres today. Completely and utterly dominated.
Absolutely awful.
He made Gyökeres look unbelievable.
He can't put a throw and save his life. He's awful.
But he made Gyökeres look really good. And then obviously, Saka comes in. Obviously, Vicario runs out. I thought he was a bit shaky today. I don't know about. He didn't feel like he ever felt comfortable throughout the game. I know he made a couple of saves, but with the ball at his feet again, just really poor. But it's the one where it bounces off Paulinho's feet. Just again, it's just like there's no composure. I don't know. It's so. It just summed up.
There was nothing.
It just sums up Tottenham, doesn't it? That third goal to make it 3-1, and at that point, everyone was like, "Yeah, game's done. It's over now," and it's just sums up Tottenham like that goal because it was just so. It was out of nothing. We created it for ourselves as we're about to make.
Next, Joe.
Yeah, I know. I mean, as we're about to make a couple of subs, we're about to try and make a change and see if we can change the game. We go and concede to make it 3-1. So the subs now don't even matter. It seems to happen every single time we play. And like you said, Trav, we've got Fulham next. Fulham are competent. They've got some really solid players, real quality. They've got a solid back line. They just went and beat Sunderland away, which is no easy feat this season. It's going to be a really tough game.
To get 3 points against Sunderland with Granit Xhaka being back in the side, that takes some doing.
Like that. What one team I think has beaten Sunderland away this year, maybe one or two. Now Fulham have. Like, it's going to be really tough going to Craven Cottage. We've always struggled somewhat going there recently as well, and we've had some tough games against them. So it's going to be a really tricky game, and it's about hoping that you see. Again, we have more to play for than Fulham do right now. They're somewhat safe. They don't really have much to play for. Spurs right now are in a relegation battle. They have got everything to play for. Yet, I guarantee you, by the end of that game, we're all going to be sitting there going, Fulham were the ones who wanted to win that game, and Spurs were worried, and Spurs didn't play like they had any kind of care in the world for it. So it's just, oh man, I can't believe this is where Tottenham are. I cannot believe it.
Well, let's put it this way. Igor Tudor has been speaking further tonight, and it was asked to him whether there's enough time to get his ideas into this Spurs team. Of course, there is enough time. As I said, this was not a perfect team to play the first game after 3 or 4 sessions, but in one way, we need to see something good to see what we need to be. Where is the goal? What is the level? What is, so today, totally different worlds. I need to be honest, two totally different worlds, psychological and physical worlds, levels. Phil, obviously this comes back to a lot of the points that we have all been speaking about since fucking November, excuse my language, but we know where we are. We are psychologically weak. We are psychologically devoid of ideas. We are physically fucked from the amount of injuries we've got. We are in a very precarious position where realistically we are hanging by a thread. I mean, I was very lucky with Gary to go and watch the under-21s play Friday, and they showed a mentality to get back into a game after conceding against Norwich and turn it on its head and win 4-1. Today, didn't really look like that, did it at all?
It didn't. I'm angry about the refereeing decisions in that game, though, because I think that the 2-2 should have been given, and I think we would have still lost the game. But it just annoys me that those things come on top. That we don't seem to get the rub of the green on those things. They tend to, the other lot, and obviously it's got nothing to do with the result in the end, but that just comes on top. These things just make me very angry. But like, we didn't look like as soon as that goal wasn't given, we basically fell apart. Before that, Arsenal were the better team, but we were fighting in that first half, and we were relatively solid. Arguably Arsenal probably should have scored like more than they did in the first half, but we were relatively solid. At the beginning of the game, some people might disagree, but I thought Dragusin looked okay in the first part of the game. He was winning most.
I think you are the only person that wears a Spurs shirt, and I know I called you out on it in the chat, and I went, "What shit are you smoking?" Let's put it that way.
I think at the time,
I don't know. I feel like I understand your point. Just quickly, like I get your point, because he did win a duel every now and then with Gyökeres, but he didn't. Think about the other side. Like Gabriel just completely stopped Colomani from doing pretty much everything throughout the game. Like we're pulling at really small threads here to try and.
The quality level isn't there, and I mean Dragusin wouldn't even be starting for us in any shape or form, right? If we didn't have the injury situation. But look, we fell apart after that. There was gaps everywhere. The midfield wasn't existent. The fullbacks were out of position constantly. Archie Gray was out of position as well constantly. I feel sorry for Archie Gray, though, to be honest. He's 18, 19, whatever. He's playing in a million different positions. He's still learning the game. He's probably confused as well and needs a boost.
That final goal as well. It was like a man against the boy.
It was easy.
It was.
Gyökeres made him look like,
it made it look like a child.
And, we know That's the easiest, but it's just always against us. You know, like, how can it be? This is what, you know, look, I grew up, you know, I started watching Spurs when the end of the 80s, right, as a kid. Then we won the FA Cup, you know, and then we went through the 90s and the 2000s. And, you know, from the day that Arsene Wenger joined Arsenal, you know, for probably about the next 15 years or something, every North London derby was basically an expected defeat because we never turned up, you know. And admittedly, they had a better team back in those days, and they do now. Clearly, they're the best team in the country along with Man City. But what you just cannot have is that lack of desire over 90 minutes, like organization, you know, in some shape or form in these games. How can it be that Eze scored 5 goals against us this season? And he's doing it easily with no one tackling him in all of these ones, you know? How can it be that Gyökeres plays his best game for that lot against us? You know, he's got the whole of the final third of the pitch to himself. He can just go past players or receive the ball in space. We make it so easy, you know, and in both of those games that Arsenal have won, they will not face an easier opponent all season. And it's just unacceptable. And the thing is, like what Joseph said, is that, you know, and I've changed my mind now as well, because I thought, you know, again, that we did see some fight in that first half. You know, we did see some maybe improved pressing and organisation. And I've been convinced the last weeks, you know, even since January, let's say, that even if we slip down towards the relegation zone, as long as we turn up in enough of the remaining games, we're going to get those 9 points that we need, or 3 wins, right? But I've changed my mind now, because what I saw today is a completely dead team. We are dead. There's nothing in this team whatsoever. There's nothing there. The battery is empty. There's no ideas about how to play football. There's no plan, or let's say, obviously, the manager is going to try and deliver a plan to the players, but the players have got no idea how to carry out that plan, whatever it may be. And even if they come up with their own plan, it's not effective, right? It doesn't work. We can't create any attacking moves. We can't deal with a high press. We can't deal with a middle. In fact, we cannot deal with any press. We saw it earlier in the season when we played Bournemouth, you know, in that in that Frank's first bad game, let's say, where Bournemouth dominated us at home. You know, and there was warning signs already in that game. As soon as someone presses us, we can't deal with it. We can't play around the press. We panic. We lose the ball. And anyway, there's gaps at the back. We cannot sort the positioning of our players out, that they are in the right positions to deal with attacking teams, whoever they may be. And we are dead. And the problem, as Joseph said, is the teams that are down there, they either are on good runs of form, or if you saw, like with Forest today, Forest could have beaten Liverpool 4-1. You know, they were playing lovely football. They looked solid at the back, you know, and they've actually generally got some world-class, like I say, world-class players. They've got people like Gibbs White and, you know, Anderson, who ran the midfield today. But, you know, the other teams down there, and even West Ham, despite obviously, you know, in a lot of probably player on player, you could still argue that maybe our players, man for man, in some cases are better. But they're playing as a team. You know, Nuno has got them organised, and he's got them playing moves when they come forward.
You've got free-flowing football field. We haven't got that.
They're playing nice moves. They've got players still like Bowen, you know, and they've got that Somerville guy, you know, who are actually on form, and they're playing nice moves, and they're creating chances. At the moment, we're neither creating chances, we're shipping goals for fun, we don't turn up to games, or we play 45 minutes okay and then self-destruct in the second half, or the other way round. We have nothing from the bench because of our injuries, and even, you know, at the moment, if we had 1 or 2 more players there, they're not game-changing subs. When was the last time we brought a sub on, and that sub actually either scored or like genuinely changed the game? I think
it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
It was only down on Solanke when he came back from injury. That's purely it.
But that's why right now, and you know, I'm agreeing with Joseph in terms of you've been the last few weeks or months. I know you were anyways, frank out before. But, you asked me the question in a couple of pods, right, recently, like, what makes you so confident that we're going to stay up or get the points that we need? And I answered those questions, but I have to change my answer today. I'm not confident. And Tudor, he's not going to be able to change the way that we play within such a short period of time. And you could see today that even after a whole week on the training ground, 5 days of like training on the pitch, nothing's changed. And he needs to build the players' confidence somehow and get them playing maybe, in a way or somehow playing a bit freer, that they can at least get those little triangles or get some moves happening. On the other hand, though, he has to try and make us defensively more sound with the personnel that he has at the moment as well. And look, we are in a big hole. And this is the worst Spurs team, to be honest, since when Klinsmann got us out of jail in '98, when he came back to save us. This is the worst Spurs team since 28 years? And arguably a worse Spurs team than through the 90s in some cases, where the only reason we weren't very good was that we clearly didn't have the player quality. And everyone knew that, and everyone was happy with us being 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, right? Because we couldn't compete with the other teams in terms of what we were doing. But now we're below that. And we're in big trouble. And I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if we're going to get out of this.
Trav, you wanted to come in, mate, quickly?
Yeah, I've just got a quick question to ask the panel. This is my opinion, but I want to ask other people's as well. Do you think that our style of football has changed so many times? One, because of the players that we've brought in, transfers, and because of the different management that we've had, and these players do not know what to do on the pitch because there's been so many different styles of play and formations and tactics. Do you think that's been a problem? Anyone else feel that way?
Oh,
yeah. Sorry, go on, you, Carl. You haven't really.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a very valid point, to be honest, mate, because we've had 8 or 9 different managers since Pochettino left, and realistically, we still have players. If we're including Ben Davies, I know he's pretty much dead out of his game this year, but realistically, we have 8 managers worth of squad players here at the moment. We've played defensive, we've played attacking, we've played high pressing, we've played low block, we've played confused Nuno ball, we've played angry football under Conte, we've played shit ball under Frank. We have now got Igor Tudor, who is realistically a Conte mimic, if we're being honest, in that. So we've got players who are not suited. We don't have a natural left back at the moment because of injury. We are playing a right back who cuts inside and wants to play like that. We are deploying a centre defensive mid as a right back. We have no honest wingers at the moment in our squad. We have a converted forward and only one natural goal scorer in Solanke. We have someone who has been done for drug offences playing in midfield. We have Pape Sarr, who's only just recovered from neurovirus, coming back. We've got Conor Gallagher, who God knows who sold the dream to him to come to Spurs. Because, I mean, Jesus, the only reason he's going to get in the England squad is because of the amount of games that he's going to play this year. Mickey van der Ven was a polar opposite of what we usually expect today. Dragusin should never have been signed. Paulinho is a stopgap. Pedro Porro is completely burnt out. Vicario cannot catch a cold, let alone catch a ball. I mean, do I go on realistically? We have too many players from too many squads, and half of them weren't good enough, and we've overpaid for them as well.
Can I say something to what you've said there? There generally must be a genuine problem with Anthony Kingsley because he didn't play under Frank, and I know obviously Tudor's only had 1 game today, but obviously he's had 3 or 4 training sessions with the squad since joining.
He's injured today.
He's injured, but is there a genuine concern or issue with Kingsley? Because when he first come in, his distribution and his ball catching and everything else, was a lot better than Vicario's, and I'll stand with that until I'm proven different.
I think that it's a valid point. There's a lot of questions been raised about his attitude, thinking he's better than he actually is. He is a young keeper, realistically. But at this rate, I'd rather play fucking Austin over Vicario, to be honest, as well.
I think that Thomas Frank was too scared to drop Vicario as well, though. On top of that, I don't think
I think Frank was just a bit of a cuck anyway, to be honest.
Martin, you've not said anything for a while, mate. I can see you want to come in on this one. What are your thoughts on it?
No, I literally agree with what everyone else is saying. Like, there's nothing more I can say. Everyone is saying it absolutely spot on. The only thing I'll say with Kinski is I'd say he should have been loaned out in the summer if the plan was not to use him, because his growth has been stunted by the fact that, you know, you see Vicario week in, week out making mistakes, not being comfortable on the ball, off the ball, and Kinski sitting there. So, of course, there will be some attitude problems, because imagine yourself, you get brought into a big club, you perform well in the beginning, and you can't get in the team, even though the goalkeeper in goal is, you know, having atrocious form. So I'm not sure with Kinski. I was also thinking what Travis was thinking when the lineup came out. I didn't see Kinski there, that maybe something's gone on behind the scenes, but apparently there have been reports that he is injured, which is either extremely it's a shame that it's happened now, and how serious it is we'll have to see, because I think that we definitely need a boost with maybe Kinski in goal that fans can get behind, because I think a lot of us are quite sick of Vicario.
Look, again, can I just say one thing? Can I just say one thing?
No, because you'll go on a rant. You'll go on a waffling rant. We've had enough of that tonight.
It is a mini rant. It is a mini rant. I'm going to be open from the beginning, just on the thing of Vicario, just so we talk about it quickly. Raya.
Are we really putting quickly with you, Phil?
Yes.
Are we really going for that? Okay, go for it, Phil.
I'm going to make it longer on purpose now.
Bastard.
Quickly. David Raya today. We could have signed him for £34 million. We didn't, because he was too expensive for us. We got Vicario instead because we saved like 12 million, and then Arsenal got him afterwards, but we definitely would have got Raya if we'd been willing to spend the money, and they got him at a cheaper price in the end as well, because, you know, they were under pressure to sell him as well. But today, again, as he's proven all season and the last 3 years, Ryan made some unbelievable saves, like that one on the line. You know, he's secure. He grabs every cross. He commands his box. He doesn't spill balls. Like, I just wanted to say it again, because it's just another example of how over the last X amount of years, either through penny pinching or through, you know, trying to do things, try to do things on the cheap, really, you know, get good players for less money and somehow, you know, come through with a good manager somehow, and we'll qualify for the Champions League still. You know, it's coming back to haunt us, and it's coming back to roost. You know, Arsenal have literally, you know, they've muddied our faces in it again today, and that's just a clear example of it again. Makes me sick. And look, I'm ranting about them again, but like we really need to, anyways. I know we need to get behind the team, and we're going to get behind the team over the next 11 games in the Premier League, right? Every single game, we will get behind them, but we also need to make sure that change for Spurs and everything that comes along with that gets pushed to the max over the next couple of months. Because we as a fan base right now, we can affect change. I believe it. But unless if everyone is pulling together and we get people, you know, retweeting, posting constantly, sharing articles, you know, if they're going to the games doing stuff, they're not going to get enough, stress in their face, you know. That's it. We need to be together on it. That's it. Because some people will say that Poch coming back in the summer, if he comes back in the summer and we stay up, right, that is a solution. And, you know, even if we don't spend loads of money or spend enough money, Poch coming back will maybe paper over the cracks and be okay. We won't be okay. Poch won't do anything. If we get Poch back, if we get Poch back and nothing really changes, but okay, maybe we spend an extra 50 million in the summer, right? Nothing's going to change. Poch is going to just end up losing more games than he wins. And we're going to be...
We'll be in the same position as we are this year. Nothing's going to change.
Never-ending cycle.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Let's
Cal,
jump to the end of the game.
Can I just add something quickly?
Go for it.
Sorry, just a quick one back on goalkeepers, right? How many goalkeepers in the Premier League, and I'm talking about number 2 goalkeepers like Kinksky, was the other goalkeeper for Arsenal,
Kepa.
How many goalkeepers do you hear getting injured without playing?
Exactly.
I mean, injuries can happen. Especially at Tottenham, they can happen every single day. So, I mean, I think he probably was injured. I agree, though. Like, there's no reason why Kinski shouldn't have been in, because we've barely seen him all season. I don't understand why he hasn't played at all.
This is what I'm
Vicario
saying.
has not been good enough all year for him to warrant being the only goalkeeper for Tottenham this season. So, yeah, I completely agree with you, Trav. Like, there's no reason why we shouldn't be seeing Kinski play for us.
No, that's definitely fair. I mean, probably Kinski has got a kick to concrete bollard on his way into the stadium this afternoon or something like that. Just so he can
lasagna.
Oh, please don't. So what we will do, we get to 90 plus 2, well, 90 plus 4. We've made our subs, and then Cement Bag scores again. Realistically, the game's dead and gone. We've been keeping them quiet for nearly half an hour since the third goal. Martin, what's this last game about, or this last goal about? Because this is just bollocks, isn't it, when you're conceding with literally the last kick of the game?
No, I think the boys on the podcast today summed it up, because it was mentioned that Archie Gray, it needs to be put into context that he is a 19-year-old player playing different positions. However, what other top team does Archie Gray start in right now? Right, none. And that needs to be looked at definitely, because that goal right there, I think Joseph mentioned it, it was man against boy. It really was. And Djukuresh absolutely bullied his way through, and Archie Gray was just, he was hopeless. He was helpless completely. And this whole game, this whole season, it all mirrors back to the board. It all mirrors back to the top. It's just a reflection of where we are heading as a club due to the decisions made by our club, because you have a 19-year-old Archie Gray struggling with confidence, physically, being outmuscled by Victor Djukuresh, with literally all the heads dropped around him as well. So we are in a very bad position, and I think it was mentioned by someone today as well that the facilities, that's the stadium, it's the foundations needed to go to the very top, to compete at the top level. However, with our owners, with our board, pinching their pockets and not investing correctly is the main issue. And I think we have good individual players, but we do not have a system functional, because again, you look at that Jed Spence on the left, it doesn't work, and you can't throw in a Souza who has absolutely no experience. So that whole last goal, Archie Gray getting bullied off there, with the amount of space Djukuresh was actually receiving the ball in, is a reflection that is much bigger than Archie Gray getting bullied off the ball. It's a reflection of the club, of the owners.
No, exactly, mate, exactly. And let's right, Trav, I know you've got to jump, mate. So thank you very much for coming on tonight, mate. Where can everyone find you?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on last minute, Cal. I really, really appreciate it. I'm trying to get on a few more podcasts. It's just been really busy as of late, obviously with the kids and stuff. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter at officialcaster. You can also find me on LinkedIn, where I do a lot of work for men's mental health. So yeah, hit me up on there. And TikTok as well. Yeah, I'm slowly gaining followers on TikTok. So if you're on there, add me up, because I'm trying to get to 500. So yeah, add me up on there as well.
Brilliant. Thank you as always, Travis. It's a pleasure to have you on, mate.
Cheers,
and we shall see you next time around. So what I will do, I will start wrapping the show up, but I just want to get everyone's quick minute or so. Just do we think we're going to get relegated or not? And I think this is a question that's been on all of our minds for a couple of weeks now. So we'll just do a quick go around the houses and see what everyone's thoughts. So Martin, I'll come to you first. Do you reckon we get relegated, mate?
It's difficult to say. I've never felt more at risk than I have right now. However, football is a very complicated game, and you look at West Ham, and yes, they are only 4 points behind us, only 2 behind Forest. But if they get 1 or 2, injuries to their key players, if they lose 2 on the bounce, they'll start losing confidence and hope. So it's very complicated. It's difficult to say right now. I hope not. However, like Philip and Joseph have mentioned today, I don't see us winning a game of football. So it's very difficult to predict. However, the error of margins is much larger for us in the position that we are currently in. However, I've never felt more at risk, but I hope we get the 3, 4, 5 wins that we need until the end of the season to stay up. So no.
No, that's fair. And Joseph, do you echo Martin? A lot of uncertainty, but do you think we'll stay up, or do you have something different, mate?
I think what Martin said is completely right. I think it is going to be so close. I think I'm going to say, yeah, I actually do think we might get relegated. Yeah, I think right now, again, obviously a lot can change. There's still 11 games to go, and that's over a couple of months. We get some players back, things can change. So, but all I can do is from right now in this position, I think we are the worst team out of the teams trying to survive. I think debatably right now we're the worst team in the Premier League. I think at the moment we are easier to beat than Wolves and Burnley, and I just don't have any confidence that things are going to change because I don't think the players are good enough. I just don't think they're good enough at football. I genuinely think we've got some average players playing for us right now. Again, the injuries are such an issue. I can't trust the manager to make a change. As much as I know we haven't got a lot to base it off of, I said previously on podcast that, I watched Igor Tudor manage Juventus for, about 8 months and it wasn't great. I know he made a big change at the start and a lot of people were kind of using that to say, oh, he's going to do the same for Spurs. Well, I can understand where people, they saw it was a good start with Lazio and with Juve. But the one thing I would say is the Serie A is so much worse than the Premier League. It's so much worse in terms of the levels that the Premier League is. So the fact is, when he went to Juve, as much as Juve were underperforming, their team was better than where they were. Their team was miles better than where they were. They had unbelievable footballers in that team that would start for pretty much every other Serie A side. And the fact is, week in, week out, they would play against teams that were miles worse than them. Those games that they were expected to win easily, like games against like Lecce and play teams like that, they would just roll over and they should just roll them over. Right now, Tottenham, I don't think we have the capability of rolling any team over. So that's where I'm worried. He had a big impact at other teams. Doesn't mean he's going to have a big impact here with the situation Tottenham find themselves in. So, yeah, I'm really, really concerned. I think relegation's on the cards right now. And I think the ownership have themselves to blame. I can't really, I can understand the injuries are an issue. Well, you've got to build a squad that's capable of, containing any kind of injury crisis. You've got to, have backup plans. They've got to have ideas of what they're going to do. The January window was an absolute... Yeah, I just can't believe they didn't sign anyone after Sousa and Conor Gallagher. The one thing as well, Johan Langer came out I think with in the Athletic, speaking with the Athletic, he said, "Oh well, we didn't have the opportunity to buy any players that would help us short term or long term." I'm sorry, Aston Villa went and bought Tammy Abraham from Besiktas, and he's already scored 2 goals to get him 2 points. There's players all over the globe that could have come in and made an impact for Tottenham in terms of the situation we're in now. So that's bullshit from him. He's just making excuses because he couldn't do his job. And that is his only job, to find and sign players. That is your job, and you're failing at doing that. So fuck off and get out of the club. Same with Vinay. Absolute joke. He needs to go. But at this point, yeah, I genuinely think we're going to get relegated. I think we are the worst team right now in this moment. So we've either got to hope that players come back from injury and can make an impact. You've got to hope Maddison comes back. You've got to hope Kudus can come back soon. I don't even know who's about to come back and who isn't. Most likely none of them will, because it seems like our players stay injured forever. So yeah, we're really concerned. Again, one result can really change things, and it can make us feel a lot more positive, and the players can get up for it. But is that result going to come? I don't know, and that's what I'm worried about. Fulham away is a really tough game, and we've got to somehow try and get a win out of it. And I just don't see it happening.
Well, let's put it this way. Something at least a little bit nicer. Gary has just texted me with a couple of nice words from Dele Alli from where he did speak to him today. And Dele Alli says he misses us, misses this place, thankful for all we did for him, and wherever he goes, we treat him as one of our own. Said it won't be long before he is back playing. That is an interesting one, to say the least. I wouldn't mind him coming back to Spurs on a pay-as-you-play basis. Probably have more guts and goal than ours. But Phil, before I do come to you, I will obviously bring our commander-in-chief in. He is centre stage now. He has come back from the game. So now that he's here, I can go and sleep. Let's put it that way. And Gary, obviously, we have covered most of the games, mate, so I will just come to you on a question I am putting around the panel, and it's, do you think we will get relegated, mate? Because it is looking tight at the moment, isn't it?
No, I don't. I think while West Ham are starting to perform and getting some results, I still think we might have enough. I thought the first half there was some positive signs there. I know that we struggled massively, but this is a very good football team. Second half, we just didn't have enough legs in us, and we didn't have enough to come off the bench either. I'm very concerned, but I think maybe heart is saying no. I don't think we will, and that is an awful thing for us to sit here now talking about relegation. We shouldn't have to speak about relegation, really.
I mean, you're not wrong, though. It's not silly, though, to think we've still got 11 games. There's 33 points to play for, isn't there?
Yeah.
We realistically need 11 to be safe.
We need 11. We need 11, but we've also got the goal difference, haven't we? So at the moment, our goal difference is -4. West Ham is -17. So that's an extra goal. That's an extra point, sorry. So effectively, it's five points. We'll definitely drop that amount of points. I've got no doubt about that. We'll drop it somewhere. But we've got to play a lot of those clubs in and around us. We've got to play Fulham. We've got to play Leeds. We've got to play Forest. We've got to play Wolves,
Palace.
They're all in and around us. And if Tudor can get a tune out of them, and no pun intended by that, if he can, I think we could be okay. My worry is there was just a lack of progressive passing at all today, and that was with Xavi and 3 workers behind him. There wasn't just a lot; there was just scraps. But I keep putting it down to that he's been in the club for 6 days, so I think this is a free hit for him, and we'll have to judge him based on Fulham. But Fulham went and got a good result as well, didn't they?
Well, yeah, they beat Sunderland away. And one thing I'll say as well, Gary, like the whole thing on Tudor, as much as again, he did make a really good impact to Juve to start with. Remember, his final 4 games, 360 minutes, Juve didn't score a goal.
Yeah.
They couldn't play forward. With the players they've got, which is a lot better than the players we have in terms of going forward, at least, with Kenan Yildiz, Lois Openda, Jonathan David. Yeah. Unbelievable forwards that play across Europe. They couldn't score a goal.
Also,
the lucky thing is we've scored today, so that is, and we should have had a second. That I haven't seen it back, but at live that didn't look a foul to me. I don't know if you guys can tell me.
No.
We didn't think it was. At first view, I thought it was, but once you actually see the replay, it's so light. But VAR is a bunch of pussies.
Well, they didn't even review it. There was no review conducted under that. It was straight. They took the on-field decision, and that's how it stood. Phil, let me come to you. Obviously, same question to the guys. Do you feel we'll get relegated, or do you see some light at the end of the tunnel?
As I said earlier, I've changed my viewpoint on it, and now I think we're in dire trouble.
And that's not Eric Dyer, is it?
It's not, and he would do a job for us right now, you know.
So would Delhi. So
yeah, Delhi. I think the problem for me is that the team just looks dead. It looks devoid of confidence, of character, of ideas, of any kind of confidence that they know that if they play the ball in one position or to one player, they know what they're going to do, or even know what they could do. The players don't run into space. You know, there's nothing there whatsoever, and we're leaky at the back anyways. And the leaders that we have supposedly in the team aren't stepping up either. And you know, I said before today, I know, again, we said that I expected to lose today, but we're lacking too much. And we're playing all of these other teams around us at the moment who are fighting. You know, they look a bit better. You know, Forest played well today. You know, Leeds look decent. Palace are almost safe right now. You know, West Ham, they are on a bit of a run of form. You know, so, and actually playing decent football as well. So they're going to create chances and score. You know, I can see us sadly spiraling more and more, unfortunately. I would say the chances realistically are literally 50-50, which are not good odds, right? Like, I mean, you know, I think it could come down to the last day. It could come down to the last day when I think we're playing at home, aren't we? And
I think we have Everton final game of the season.
Yeah, it is. It is Everton. Yeah, and it might come down to the fact that we need a win on the final day to stay up. I'm probably the same as Gary. I think I still do believe that, well, we probably will stay up, but I have no reasons actually to kind of make that statement. So I hate being negative about it, but
Phil, that's a really valid point you've made there, because it's something I've thought about. Because realistically, if we do stay up, and I'm giving this as a hypothetical, if we do stay up, what is there going to be for another new manager to play for next season?
The biggest thing is Tudor's come in. There's zero confidence in the players. There's lack of quality. I think it was Phil that said it earlier, or it might have been you, Callum, that we've got a team that's basically been pieced together by squad players from about 5 or 6 different managers. And that's the reality of it. They clearly have no confidence. The amount of times that Tudor was saying to them, "Get up today, up, push up for the defence," they just weren't. There's no confidence.
He was shouting at Mickey, wasn't he? Constantly going, "Get the
he was
fuck
shouting at
forward,"
all
and
of
all
them.
that.
And there's clearly a lack of confidence there. And I think he'll be very open with that, and he'll see it. But the problem we've got is that there is some players in there, but there's a very, very small amount of them. And most of them are sitting on the medical table at the moment, and that's a big problem. You look at what Arsenal could bring off the bench in terms of quality. We can't do that. Our backups or our squad players are at best lower league players, and we are playing with them regularly at the moment. So the biggest problem, as we all know, is the ownership, and they've left us high and dry. We've gone into the last portion of this season with 12, 13 players fit in a relegation battle, and it's just not acceptable.
You know what?
The problem we've got, the next level now, is using developmental players, and I include in that Tell and Archie Gray. At the moment, realistically, they
shouldn't be. They shouldn't be anywhere near the first 11. They shouldn't be. They should never be. Like, they're 2 youngsters that they could easily be going out on loan. That should not be forced to be playing first team football for a Premier League team that has the aspirations Tottenham do. But we don't have enough senior players left in the club, or left who are fit to actually be able to play. It's so worrying. Because I don't think our players are very good. I really don't. I don't think technically, I don't think we have very many good footballers. I think they make football look harder than it is. They genuinely do. Like, I watched Arsenal play today, and again, Arsenal are one of the better teams in the Premier League. But Martin said earlier, teams have been causing them to struggle. They haven't been playing as well. They literally looked like it was like Barcelona versus Barcelona B. Like, it was just complete and utter ease from Arsenal, playing the ball on the floor. Every touch was measured. Every pass was exactly where it wanted to go. And then you watch Tottenham, and it's like, oh, we'll try and figure it out. The amount of times that, this really frustrated me. The amount of times that we saw either Gallagher or Spence hold up the ball and just stand there holding the ball up with one Arsenal player behind them, and then 3 other Arsenal players ran around him and got the ball off them. Like, they just have no idea. They have no clue how to play football together. It makes no sense.
It's extremely static, isn't it? In possession, it's extremely
really
static.
We relied.
Yeah, I agree, and I think why on earth we can't progress the ball through the left hand side with Jed Spence there, and Mickey van der Ven plays as a left back for the Netherlands, and I really think that if there was an element of risk of putting him on that left hand side, and going the risk of Dragusin and Palini as your centre backs. I'm reaching again, but I echo what Joseph has said there.
Frank should have done that earlier in the season.
Yeah.
He should have done that earlier in the season. I think today would have been very risky with the other options we have there. But I can see the point of doing that, just again for the balance and for the danger that someone like Mickey would bring. But coming back to like the state of the squad and the way that we play, this goes back even longer than Conte in some ways when you look at it, because when we had Kane and Son, we relied on them, and even under Conte or Mourinho in the Mourinho days, even under Poch, right, we relied on Kane and Son so often.
We had get out of jail free cards, didn't we?
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Literally.
Now we have none of them.
We have nothing. We don't have a single player in our team who scores a goal out of nothing. When was the last time we scored a world-class long ranger? Or
I think the other thing as well, Phil, like I would say, is I think the last time that I looked at our squad players, I mean, even then, I think that's a stretch. I don't know if I've ever looked at squad players and thought they were good enough, but I think when we were under Poch, I think other than the star players like Kane, like Son, like Ali, like Ericsson, I think I looked at the other players and went, yeah, you're good enough. You're good enough to play for Tottenham Hotspur. Like the defense I thought was solid. Like Vertonghen, Alderweireld, Danny Rose, Walker, all of them were good enough footballers, and I thought these are quality footballers. We are, these are the type of players should be playing for Tottenham. The amount of players that I'll look at now, and I'll think I genuinely don't think they're good enough to play for Tottenham. We're just having to stick with them. Like, I don't think Pape Sarr is that great. I think he's fine, but he's not this world beater. He's not a world beater, and there's plenty of players in our squad that are like that are just like, even for me, like Pedro Porro. I think he's an unbelievable like crosser of the ball. That's really it. He doesn't do anything else. He's not good at anything, in my opinion. I don't think he's very good at anything else. There's so many players like that. I think Udogie isn't that great. I don't think he's unbelievable going forward. I don't think he's unbelievable at the back. Like, just the amount of players that are just very average and that we could easily improve on. And the fact is, like, I was watching Bournemouth beat West Ham the other day, and I was genuinely sitting there watching Treffer and watching Jimenez, their fullbacks, and I was like, these are better than our fullbacks. They genuinely are. They're better footballers than our fullbacks. And I don't even know who they picked them out of nowhere, and I genuinely think they are better at football than the people we have. I think they're better on the ball. I think they pass the ball better. Their weight of pass is better. Their movement off the ball, their actual defensive initiative, where they position themselves is better. And there was that for so many players, and that's Bournemouth. Players that have randomly popped out of nowhere. They're better than
the big difficult thing that we've had is the biggest issue I think that we've obviously had is the recruitment over the years. And I think someone said it earlier in the podcast that we've gone from one extremes to the other. We've gone from one attacking manager to a defensive-minded manager. We've gone from a Conte that plays with wing-backs. We've gone to a win-now manager. We've gone to Thomas Frank. And we just keep changing and chopping in around. And we just don't have that continuation of building. And a lot of clubs are. And equally, our recruitment has been so poor that how can we sit there in January and look at the injuries that we've got on that table and not go and bring in one or two, even a loan? you know,
I said
Tudor
it
has
before.
spoken. Tudor's come out in his press conference, and he's just basically. They said, "Is this a bigger job than you thought it was?" And he said, "You never know. You never know because it's a situation that I never saw. We have 10 plus 3 players available. It's very, very. I don't know the word to use, but I like to. I like to because I see the players want to do it, as in they want to play. Obviously, his English isn't fantastic, but he's come in. He's got 13 players to play with.
I was saying it before you joined, Gary. I don't know if you heard me. I was saying Aston Villa signed Tammy Abraham from Besiktas, and he's come in and scored 2 goals for them, got them 2 points from losing positions. Like, and Johan Langer came out in the Athletic article saying, "Oh, well, we couldn't find any players that would help us in the short term or the long term." That's just bullshit. You're just lying. It's not true. There was definitely 100%. So many players could have come in and helped us.
Abraham, Douglas Luiz. There's plenty of names
This is the thing. I'm not even saying that Tammy Abraham was a player we should sign. It's more the fact of Tammy Abraham has come into Aston Villa and got them points. He's not a great player. He's playing for Besiktas. He's not been this world beater for a long, long time. Yet he's still good enough to come into Villa, who are challenging for the Premier League somewhat. They're challenging for top 4, and he can come in and make an impact there. But you're telling us that there's nobody in Europe, or even in the world, that Tottenham could have signed in January to help this situation. No, come on. It's just not true.
Well, we needed a bloody winger, and look, Bournemouth went out and got that Ryan, didn't they? The Brazilian guy. And he's come in and got, like, what, 3 goals, 1 assist, something like that. So, I mean, let's put it this way, and I'm going to wrap up the show now. We are in a dire strait. We do have, I believe, Fulham next time around. Is it next Saturday or Sunday? We have them as well. We then have a midweek game after that. So I think we are all depressed. We are all down. There is just under 1,000 of you watching live tonight, which is outstanding as always. So if you can go and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Project Spurs, if you could obviously go and follow all the guys here as well. I know most of the stuff is coming off of Gary's X at the moment, which is amazing as well. He is a very popular bloke. He does put all the rest of us to shame, even if he does have his hat on, which he won't ever take off in life or death. Oh my God. You've got really bad lines in your head, mate. It's nearly as bad as me. But obviously, thank you very much to everyone tonight. So let's go around the panel. So Martin, obviously, first time on with me, mate. Thank you for being on tonight. Where can everyone find you?
Thank you for having me on. It was a lovely panel. Really, really happy to be on. Not happy about the situation we're in, but I feel much better than before the podcast started. So thank you for the lovely chat. You can find me on X. So that's Martin _Frank, FRANC. I'm in no way affiliated with our ex-manager. And you can also read my articles. It's called The Spurs Pursuit, as I am heading on a football reporter career journey. So again, thank you for having me on. Lovely panel. Thank you.
Lovely, mate. So hopefully we may see you at Hotspur Way in due course for one of the tabloids interviewing probably our 25th manager in 9 seasons, but we shall see. Obviously, regular and good friend of all of ours, as always, Phil King from Frankfurt Spurs. Thanks for everything, as always, mate. Where can everyone find you?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, as always, in obviously challenging circumstances. But we try and make the best out of it, don't we? And dream of better days. But yeah, you can find me mainly on X at Frankfurt Spurs. I've started doing some more lives recently myself as well, and I'm sure I'll be doing a live maybe tomorrow and Tuesday to dissect a bit more, having slept on the game today. But yeah, check me out, and yeah, come on, you Spurs. Hopefully we can, the manager can get enough out of these players, and reboot them in some shape or form. We've got to stay positive, haven't we?
Yeah, no, exactly, mate. We hope so. And thank you, as always. And the happiest man alive that we know, it is Joseph Ridge. Thanks for keeping the sentimentality tonight a little bit, mate. But where can everyone find you, as always?
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah, apologies for being as negative as I can be. I'm really getting fed up with Tottenham this year, and fed up with Tottenham in general. We just got to hope we can get through the season, we can stay up, and hope for some clearer skies going into next year. But right now, it's really looking worrying. So, yeah. But again, thank you for having me on. Always really enjoy being on the podcast, talking with everybody, connecting with other Spurs fans. And again, if you want to ever talk to me about anything Spurs or anything with Juve, I'm a big Juve fan, as well as American sports fan, then follow me on X, JCTSPURS. But yeah, looking forward to more podcasts. Again, we need some better news. We need some better results. I don't remember the last time we did a podcast when we won. I genuinely don't remember it, and it's really sad.
I think it'd be Champions League game, wouldn't it? I think
It was, yeah.
It's not been a Premier League game, and we haven't won in 2026.
It was Frankfurt, I think.
It would have been Frankfurt, yeah.
It's a really, really tough time right now. So we just got to hope something changes. Hope Igor Tudor can work some kind of magic and get something out of this team against Fulham next Sunday. But yeah, until then, it's going to be quite a difficult time, quite a miserable time being a Spurs fan. But hey, it's what we're used to, I guess.
No, thank you as always, mate. Obviously, if you want to find me at CamStubbs97 on X. You can also find me on Project Spurs. Obviously, joining Gary on all of these as well. You can find me on Facebook, just Callum Stubbs on there. But realistically, I'm pretty level-headed, but I'm quite moody at times at the moment. I'm like all the guys, I have lost a lot of faith this season as well. So it is better to be a host, because then I don't have to give my opinions too much on it. But as always, the one and only, our Commander-in-Chief, Gary Ward, where can everyone find you, mate, as always?
Yeah, I'll be on Diehards in about 30 minutes. If you want to come check me out over there, I'll be streaming live on my X as well, and then obviously on their YouTube channel. So come and join in and hear some more thoughts, I guess. Please do give us a like and subscribe to our channel, Project Spurs. Everybody on here as well, if you wouldn't mind just giving them a follow too, and obviously me on their X. I'm like Joseph. I like a lot of football. I talk a lot of MLS and Serie A as well. So if those are things of interest, do come on over. I appreciate Callum for stepping in for me as well. And we're likely to be back tomorrow for our normal Monday podcast and to discuss anything extra that we might have found over in the last 24 hours. So if you want to come and see us do it all over again, then we'll see you tomorrow.
No, of course. And like Gary, I will be hopefully on Diehards. I've got to go and have a shower, though, and have some food first, because I am dying alive. So let's have some lovely music to see us out. But as always, come on, you Spurs.
Oh, the streets are cold and grey, but the fire in our hearts won't stray from the pitch where dreams collide. We'll stand together side by side. Oh, when the Spurs go marching